Minion, guys, is something that's come up this week. It's an insane program that's been counting all these votes. It's used in Venezuela. I mean, that should tell you all you need to know. I know. I know. It's
Venezuela.
I know.
As usual. Oh, God, okay.
There are these states here where things are still up in the air. We've got Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Now, this week, we particularly had quite a few revelations come out of Michigan, 16 electoral college votes, and Georgia. In Michigan, very fascinating things have been happening, but Georgia's the one I want to touch on particularly. Georgia, they found, Riccardo, in 3 counties, thousands of votes.
Go on. I can't believe it.
It was completely, none of us were going to expect this.
No, absolutely not.
So previously, guys, just as a reminder, we've been told that it doesn't matter if you have a recount. The biggest precedent we have is them finding a few hundred votes. You know, in the case of Al Gore in the 2000 election, they found 1,300 votes. That was the most they found from an audit. So they're just like, that's the record. You're not going to beat it. They found over 3,000 votes uncounted in this place. But just to put it into perspective, guys, before they found these votes, Donald Trump was trailing Joe Biden by 14,000 votes. So this is close. And this is only in 3 counties. Now, in these 3 counties, they are Floyd, Fayette, and Walton County. Now, in the Floyd and Fayette County, they found 2,755 votes, and that ended up giving Trump a net gain of 800. So Trump got over 60% of the vote in that area, yet they just found it. They just lost it. Now, the reason why it went missing, it's being blamed as human error, where a memory card from one of these automatic counters was found and it wasn't uploaded. The data wasn't uploaded. What a convenient mistake.
I'm shocked.
Like, isn't it strange all these things flow in one direction?
Oh, yeah.
You're not shocked at all. Now, Walton County, they're another county in Georgia, 284 votes. The problem there was due to votes being previously uploaded from one of the 2 ballot scanners, they forgot to upload the other one. Now, they found a number of votes there for Trump as well. So as it stands, the 14,000 vote lead that Biden had has been reduced down to 12,633. Now, you might say, Joel, so what? This doesn't matter. He's still won by 12,633 votes. What are you saying? And I said, okay, this is 3 counties. There are 159 counties in Georgia. And look at the map, guys. How many of them are red? Just 3 of them? Just 3 of them were for the Donald? No, there's over 100 for Donald Trump there. Now, if they were all blue, then I'd say, okay, whatever, we're not going to see anything, but they're all red. We need to look into this. We need more results. Otherwise, a ton of people are going to feel disenfranchised. We can't have that. So that's Georgia. Lightning striking 3 times, which has never happened. Donald Trump's broken the record from the Al Gore case in Florida. And then this just came out. Georgia election. Monitor finds 9,626 votes in a voting error by a hand recount. Now, before you guys freak out, this doesn't affect the current vote. Trump will still currently be on 12,366 votes. This was found before those counts. So it's very good that he found this. Otherwise, Biden would have found to be had 9,000 more than what he has right now. So this is very good that he found it, and he just happened to find this by chance. One of our monitors discovered this error in the DeKalb County hand count. One batch was labeled 10,707 votes for Biden and 13 for Trump, as improbable margin even by their standards. Schaefer said an actual count for the batch was 1,081 for Biden, 13 for Trump. So you can see he just added a few extra a 0 on, and then that's where the 9,000 came from. So criminal, but it's good that someone was doing their job. It just makes you wonder how many of these things are going unnoticed. That's not even the biggest news. So yesterday evening, the county board that certifies the Michigan results refused to certify the results. The state board they were hoping that the board would follow suit. So in order, guys, for these results to be passed on, it has to be certified by the certifiers. There's 4 of them. Now 2 of them are Republican, 2 of them are Democrat. Now the 2 that didn't certify it, they said, we're not certifying it. This is just, we can't certify it. This is just terrible. It's not reliable at all, and we can't put our name to this. They got doxed. For those of you who don't know what doxing is, their public information got released, their addresses got released, people were visiting their homes, and then they reversed the decision.
They reversed the decision?
They reversed the decision.
What a surprise. Is that interfering in an election result? Is that collusion to change the result of the will of the people, do you think, Joel?
I think that there's some questions to be asked. They negotiated, that's what they were saying. They said, we'll certify the results as long as you guys agree to certify, if there's an audit. If you guys audit it, we'll certify the results, basically. That's what they said. So I disagree. I mean, I think they should have stuck to their guns.
Moral courage, mate. There's a shortage of it everywhere.
Exactly. And the same, one of the school I went to, what was their mantra was fortiter et fideliter in Latin, meaning bravely and faithfully. Mate, that is in short supply right now. Bravery and faith. Oh my gosh. So Republicans, you've got to stick up for yourselves. You had a 1 million person march in Washington this week. The people are behind you if you'd only do it. Just wanted to add one piece of information to this, guys. A couple hours after we recorded this with Riccardo, I'm just in the middle of editing this video for you guys, and it turns out that the county in Michigan, the electors, they actually flipped again. So now they're not going to certify the result. They actually changed their mind. So it's really good. This is great. That means they're not bowing to the mob, and they can see that the people are around them. But keep watching. Moving on.
Just before we do,
yeah,
we still on the election?
Yeah.
Okay, dump and roll. Politico reported the process by which the Democrats managed to, or tried to persuade people of the dodgy result and persuade them that the dodgy result was in fact correct. Let's take Georgia, for example, and there was several states where this applied. And you go to the Politico website because it breaks it down state by state and you look at the actual numbers, but here's the meta process at work. So Trump's well in advance, well in the lead, they stop counting. The next time the count opens for public scrutiny, Biden's in front by a margin, and whatever that margin is, let's say it was 0.5%. Every batch of new votes counted, allegedly counted, kept the margin at 0.5% all the way through. Now this same pattern occurred in multiple states. So Trump's ahead, they stop voting, they stop counting.
Yep.
Next time they open the numbers, Biden's ahead, and the margin remains the same with every batch. It's just a click of the digital data to make sure. So it looked like, oh no, Biden's only 2.5% in front, but he's maintaining his lead. He never had the lead in the first place. So it's dump and roll. So check out the Politico website. Very good, very sharp. Yeah. And it just helps you understand how they do this stuff.
Yeah, and Politico is not Trump friendly, guys. They're just doing a good job there. And Dominion, guys, is something that's come up this week. It's an insane program that's been counting all these votes. It's used in Venezuela. I mean, that should tell you all you need to know. I know. I know. It's
Venezuela.
I know.
As used. Oh, God, okay.
Anyways, so nothing against Venezuelan people. It's just I don't trust the government there. I can see how they'd find Dominion products.
Well, I don't know why they should, because what was Hugo Chavez, the former president of Yugoslavia, who was boosted by our very own Adams, what's his name? ABC Adams. Can't even remember, he's an irrelevance. His family fortune was in the billions. The country, one of the richest oil countries on the planet, Venezuela, the people haven't got food, medical supplies, and Hugo Chavez, Philip Adams, that's him.
Yeah.
Hugo Chavez died a multi-millionaire, and so did his family. So there's communism in action, folks. Communism in action.
That's insane. So we've got all these things, the wall's closing in on the Biden administration. So not the Biden, the office of the president-elect, which doesn't exist. So the walls are closing in on him. Now, guys, there's two people that are spearheading all of these investigations and all of these allegations of fraud, but not fraud. It's actually electoral impropriety. And I say that because fraud is a very different thing. Trump keeps saying fraud, 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 and the media are going for it. And this is a 4D chess move, guys. And I don't say this very often, but by Trump saying fraud, the media are not paying attention to what he's actually doing. The lawsuits aren't going after fraud. They're going after electoral impropriety, which is what all of these examples I just listed fall under, not fraud. Fraud is when you intend to actually do it and you change ballots manually. That's very hard to prove. Electoral impropriety, which where all these irregularities come up, that's what we saw in Michigan. That's what we saw with these votes being found out of nowhere. Now, Sidney Powell is one of the lawyers. She's an excellent lawyer that's tackling this.
Is she the one that's releasing the Kraken?
Yes, yeah. She is the one.
There you go.
And Rudy Giuliani is also, he used to be the mayor of New York. He took down the mafia in New York quite eloquently. They're both spearheading this investigation and coordinating all of these lawsuits. They've made some massive hires around the country. And the media keeps going after these fraud things. They're not paying attention to what Trump's actually doing, but they're like a bull, and Trump's, like the dancing with the bull. And it's excellent. It's excellent to watch. It's masterful.
Definitions count.
They really do. And Sidney Powell pretty much made it very clear in no uncertain terms. I mean, guys, you tell me what this sounds like. She said it would be beneficial for Joe Biden to concede the race before he incriminates himself for widespread electoral fraud that could put him behind bars for the rest of his life. That doesn't sound like someone who's losing.
Nope.
You might be right, Riccardo, on this. This will be interesting in a month or so. Remember, the 14th of December. That is the date. That is when we find out. I'm sure they'll find a way to extend it, but...
And just to explain something else to the viewers, the Electoral College, that collection of individuals actually provide the vote that anoints the president.
That's right.
Now, the Electoral College is actually a bunch of people. And as Joel pointed out earlier, they are actually not bound by the the vote in the state. They are appointed by the state, and then they can vote.
Yeah.
And so this, if anybody thinks that this is a lay-down misère for Biden, you don't know the system.
They don't.
Trump's boys and girls do. They know exactly how to play this.
That's right.
Trump will be president.
Exactly. The electors, that'll be very interesting. And they're I think 52%, I mean, we don't trust polls, but 52% of the Republican Party have said they support what Trump's doing with this, because this is why the electoral system was set up that way. It's not a democracy, guys. The word democracy doesn't come up at all. It's a constitutional republic. This is very important, and it's certainly something that we might have to look at in Australia, because democracy, as Riccardo said in the past, is two wolves discussing what to eat for dinner with the sheep. The sheep's going to get slaughtered, and that is what's going to happen to a lot of these minorities in these states. And that's why the popular vote doesn't matter.